Alright, what we're going to do in this video is we're going to show you how to properly set up the quilt display stand so that it's safe, it's effective, and quick. Anybody can do it. To begin with, you want to get all three parts out. You have your two uprights and a crossbar. First thing you do is set up one of the uprights. You just spread the legs out until it's firm and tighten the screw just until it holds. There's no need to over tighten it. Then get your other upright and put it in the position where you think it might be, just to approximate. Repeat the same thing so that it's firmly on the ground, and then just give it a light twist. Just as long as it holds it, that's good enough. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your crossbar. You're going to fit it over the pin there, stretch it out, and fit it over the pin here. Now, one of the really great advantages of a quilt display stand, this particular model will allow you to customize the width so that you're not bound by fixed lengths. It will adjust to whatever width your quilt is. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your quilt, and we recommend that on the back of your quilt you sew a sleeve. If you don't want to put it on permanently, you can just baste it on, but this will allow you to have a very clean display. So you take your crossbar now, lift it up. This is just the easiest way to do it. Thread your crossbar through the sleeve, and you'll recognize this quilt because it's the one we have on our website. Now, hook it on both sides. And if you're comfortable with the width, then you leave the uprights where they are. But again, one of the great advantages of this quilt stand is that you can then adjust it so that it's a perfect fit. So once again, we can move the uprights into position so that the quilt stand and the quilt look like they're one piece made for each other. The next thing you're going to do is now you're going to start to raise your quilt to the appropriate height. You're going to loosen the top joint and start there. Extend it about a foot and then tighten it, not too tight, just until it holds. Do the same thing on this side and lift it up about that far. Tighten it until it holds, and keep doing this until you've got the first section fully extended. Now, the reason for this is that if you have too much of an angle, you can put stress on the pin and it could snap the pin. So you don't want to do that. But let's say that you did, we can easily replace that part for you. So once you get the first section fully extended, only then do you begin to extend the second one, and that's this one. Now, in this case, the quilt fits kind of nicely in that position, but if you'd like to have it higher, just keep lifting by going up on the second extension. And by doing this, you'll get to the point where it's just exactly where you want it. And again, it's the custom fit that this quilt stand will give you that will really help your quilt to shine. Okay, here's a tip on how to get more mileage out of your quilt display stand. Once you've got your quilt set up on one side, and we're now looking at the back side of a quilt that we've already hung, you can use a simple S-hook, and you can purchase these at your local hardware store. You hang it over the end, on each end of the quilt stand, hang it over the bar, and then with an extra crossbar, you can just hang it on the lower part of the S-hook, and voila, you can hang a second quilt on the same quilt stand. And these extra crossbars are available from us as well. One of the things that we can't stress enough is how to handle the joints. When you're setting up your quilt stand and you get it to the preferred or desired height, just give the screw a twist enough to hold it. There's no need to crank it, because cranking it could cause damage to the joint. So just again, once you reach the desired height, give it a firm twist, And once it's holding, take your hands off of it. Don't over tighten it. When you're setting up your quilt stand and you put the crossbar over the top pin, we can't stress enough the importance of trying to keep your crossbar as level as possible. As you're putting your quilt stand up and you're starting to extend the arms, what you want to do is never put too much pressure on the pin. If you have too extreme of an angle, you can snap this pin off and then you'll have problems. The pin is easily replaced and we carry extra parts for you. But we prefer that you keep your quilt stand in tip-top condition by just remembering, don't go into extreme angles with your crossbar or it could result in snapping off the top. Another really great aspect about this quilt display stand is the versatility of the tripod. When you're setting up your quilt, sometimes you have lots of space to set up in and sometimes you don't. This shows you essentially a traditional setup right here. But you could also spread it out even farther to get a super stability, particularly if you're setting up somewhere near a draft or where there's a lot of traffic. On the other hand, sometimes you don't have a lot of space to set up in and you need to really bring these legs in more tightly. And so you can just pull up on it this way, give the screw a slight twist just till it holds, and you have a lot less space to take up in displaying this quilt.